We are joined by another member of parliament. Now, he is the MP for Runyenjes constituency, the Honorable Muchangi Karemba. Good morning.
Good morning to you.
Welcome to Kenya's biggest conversation.
Thank you very much.
In the hot seat of the Situation Room.
Thank you very much.
You know, it's Karemba and you're wearing a Karemba.
Yes.
Karibu sana Mheshimiwa Muchangi.
Asante sana.
You're a member of parliament for Runyenjes.
Yes.
Runyenjes is is it in Tharaka Nithi?
In Embu County.
It's in Embu County, Runyenjes.
Yes.
It's in Embu County. You know, there's like a distance there.
Yeah, but it's not.
Runyenje
Look, bro, I mean, surely
Embu,
there's even a
Runyenje.
big sign telling you've entered Runyenjes. You know, it's not. You just can't
You
pass
entered
it.
where?
Yes.
You entered?
Runyenjes.
Yes.
Yes.
So does it tell you you're in Embu? That sign?
No. You ought to know you're in Embu.
Before you get to Runyenjes, you get to Embu.
Yes.
Yes.
You're hapo. Haya. Karibu sana Mheshimiwa.
Thank you
You're
very
also a chair of the Labour Committee
Yes.
of the National Assembly.
Yes, I am.
This is not your first rodeo in Parliament.
Yeah.
You were in the 12th Parliament as well.
Yes.
Huh?
Absolutely.
Still elected by the people of Runyenjes.
Yes.
Under which party then?
I was elected first under the Jubilee Party.
Mm-hmm.
And then I was re-elected under the UDA Party. Yes.
Okay.
But by the same margin of 82%.
82%.
Yes, in 2017 and another 82% in 2022.
How many competitors did you have in 2022?
I had 5.
And you gave them, they were given a combined 18%.
Yes.
To share
to share.
as they see fit, equitably or otherwise.
You know, gawaneni hiyo.
Yes.
Hii ni ya Muchangi.
Yes. Na hii mfurahie. Msipofurahia pia ni sawa.
Okay. So, Mheshimiwa, you are chair of the Labour Committee in this 13th Parliament. What is the Labour Committee about?
Well, but just before that, it's good I say that my name is Eric Muchangi Njiro, and Karemba came from my turban. So when I first contested in 2013, straight from the university, people saw a very young man who donned a kilemba. So they used to say, that Karemba man. That's how the name Karemba came about. And I did a deed poll. I adopted the name. So it is my official name.
Now Karemba is official.
Karemba is official name.
So still Eric Muchangi.
Eric
Njiro.
Muchangi Njiro is still my name.
Still
But I ended Karemba
Okay.
because I realized everybody, including the small kids, refer to me as Karemba. And I thought I should give that name to them so that they feel more comfortable.
Ownership.
Yes. And I am a former student of Kenyatta University. That is where I studied a couple of years ago, approximately 10. And
What did you study?
I studied education. I am a teacher of mathematics.
Okay.
Yes.
I also studied there when it was Kenyatta University College. I also studied education. But at that time, there was nothing else to study. Okay. There was only education.
If you went to KU College, that's the
You
only thing.
you studied education.
I was there when it was a university, and then there were several other courses.
Yes.
I was together with Dendi Nyoro, while at the same university, I was elected the students' finance secretary. At the same time, the Honorable Dendi Nyoro was the students' academic affairs secretary, and the member of parliament for Mkuruaini, John Kagusha, was the students' president. So by coincidence, around 5 of us later on met at Parliament as members of Parliament, and I really thank God for that.
You first contested in 2013.
Yes.
How did that go?
I came in second, a very close second. I was a young man. I was not even married by then, but I was able to move across the constituency and articulated issues, sold my vision to the people, and garnered 20,000 votes against 24,000 of
the winner.
Slimbaride.
So would you say that your marriage status is what gave you now the seat?
There was serious resistance there was serious resistance. Our people are not. Our people are accustomed to leaders who are married. They will consider you as a mature person when they see that you are a married man.
You have responsibility.
Yeah, you have a responsibility. Probably have a child or children. So I would say the youth factor contributed to me garnering quite a number of votes, but the mature people, the adults mainly, the mature people decided to give me time to mature as them. But once, then the following year I got married, and I continued interacting with them, and they gave me very many votes. And we are great friends. I'm not just their leader. We are friends. So in the last parliament, I was in the Parliamentary Committee on Education, but this parliament, I was elected chairman of the departmental committee on labor. So I oversight the Ministry of Labor and Social Protection, but specifically the State Department for Labor and Skills Development, and then the State Department for Public Service. Yes. Those are the two state departments that I oversight.
We'll come back into the present, but you've actually taken us into that bit of a past which is interesting. How much did you spend in your campaign in 2013?
Approximately 5 million.
How much did you spend in 2017 and 2022, if you compare?
In 2017, I spent around, I would say, between 5 and 7 in 2017. In 2022, less than 10.
Okay.
Yes.
If you think about that and you think about other members of parliament who have joined you in parliament, are you among the higher spenders, the middle spenders, or the lower spenders?
I am among the lowest spenders.
Why?
It depends with how you decide to do your campaigns. If you decide that your people will know you for the big monies, that is how they will get to know you. And they will always expect big monies from you. Yeah? If the only thing that you offer to your people is money, I'm telling you, they will come for it, and you will have to look for it to give it to them. But I decided to give something else except money. And this is leadership, which I sought for, and service. Yeah? And I have realized that over time, my people are very interested in services, and you will be with them offering services and providing solutions to the many challenges we have, and they will almost not remember that you can give them money. And if you have to give them, sometimes I have to remind them that I want to give them money. Because that is not what they are used to. They are looking for something else.
They're looking for something else.
Yeah.
Solutions
From
you.
to the many challenges that they have. Because one thing I have realized in my about 6 years now, and the many years that I have been in politics, is that our people have many challenges that require leadership. Yeah. And when one aspires to be a leader, you should always endeavor to sort out the challenges that your people have. So I would say I am committed to solving problems than thinking that I can solve people's problems using my little money. Yeah, it is not possible.
You know, I'm looking at your particular constituency, and the kind of people that they have taken to parliament before. It's a mix of either or that. But it's people who, for example, Cecily Mbarire twice, 2007 and 2013. Before that was Martin Wambora. Before that was Njero Ndwiga. And before that was Kamuithi Munyi. And, you know, we've had several members of parliament from this area. If you look at, and of course, Njeru Kathangu in 1997. Mtumishi Njeru Kathangu. It appears like the people of this constituency go for the outliers, the radicals.
There are constituencies that get that reputation.
Yeah.
Yes. It's like they are more interested in the person
Oh, yes.
than even the party. The party may benefit from your candidature, but
Yes.
it is you, the candidate,
Yes.
that they're interested in.
That is absolutely true. And if you look at the people who have been elected across Embu, like, for example, we voted for William Ruto. In Embu County, William Ruto got around 83%. In my constituency, he got 86%. But in the same county, we have a number of MCAs who are elected under the Azimio coalition. Actually, we only have around 8 elected out of 20, 8 elected UDA MCAs.
The other 12 are from
the others are from
either independent or
either independent and other parties, the BAS party, and then we even have Jubilee, we have NAC Kenya, in my own constituency, which gave me 82%, gave William Ruto 86%. They gave
they did not give him 100% of
yes.
MCAs.
Yes.
Or at least even 86%
yes.
of MCAs.
They still gave an MCA under the Azimio party. And that is to say that our people are not so much into
Party politics
and the money factor, but they are keen to see the kind of person who is contesting or who is aspiring to be a leader. That is Embu for you. When I contested in 2013, I contested under the BAS party. And during that time, there was a very strong wave, the TNA wave. They still gave me the votes. You see that 20,000 votes was not little votes.
For a first entrance into politics, that is a huge.
Yes.
For practically a student.
Yes.
Yes. I
For
just
practical
graduated,
purposes.
so I was still remembering what I learned at the university.
You're still coming there with a comradeship.
Oh, yes.
Student leader.
So
why did you get into politics? Okay, no. You were in politics even in university. Why did you decide to actually transcend? You have just finished university as a student leader. Instead of going to teach mathematics, you decided to go and join elective politics.
Now, I would say that while I was at the university, I was given an opportunity to serve the people of Embu County, the students from Embu, as the chairman. They elected me. They decided that I be their chairman. And so I started serving them and organizing them in the many activities that students have, mentorship programs in the constituencies. We used to go and visit high schools and encourage our students. While still there, they proposed that I contest. And so I contested. And when I contested and won the position of Students' Finance Secretary, I realized that it was coming so easily. I was doing it so easily.
It was natural.
It was coming out naturally. So, and I thought of extending. While at the same university, people started reaching out to me to consider offering myself for leadership, because back at the constituency and specifically in my rural home area, I had some few initiatives, empowerment initiatives centered around the church and around my immediate community. So it is at the university when I realized that, I am called to serve people, and I decided to venture into politics, constituency politics, and I am always not under pressure. It comes out naturally. I don't feel like there is pressure. I love it, and like I am saying, I went to my people first as a politician, but we have become friends because during my tours of the constituency, we have made almost person-to-person engagements that have now allowed me to become a friend to the people that I serve. So I don't feel like it is any pressure. Going back to teach, or rather venturing into my area of training, felt like I am focusing on something smaller than what I am able to do.
You're destined for bigger.
Yes.
How then are you able to collect the views of your people? Because you're representing them in parliament. How are you sure that what you're taking to the National Assembly is actually the pulse of Runyenjes?
There's something I did in 2017, and I have also done it a few months ago. I do public participation in my constituency, and I do it at the sublocation level. My constituency has 42 sublocations, and I have gone to all of them and held barazas in each of those sublocations. There are two things we do when we are doing public participation. We give people an opportunity to tell us what they consider as priority projects at the ward level, so that now we can capture their aspirations right from the sublocation. Then, right from the village level, they give me one person per village. My constituency has 402 villages. Villages that have the people we call village elders. So they give me one trusted person to represent them in the sublocation committee, development committee. So right at the sublocation, my people tell me what are the issues. I always get an opportunity to learn from them, to engage them, and I can tell you at the end of my tour of the constituency, I am able to tell what are the issues that are bothering my people. From roads to electricity, to water, to education standards, and even to political affairs, because in those forums, they also get an opportunity to speak to the issues national politics. So we always keep a very close engagement with them, and through those forums, I have been able now to understand them. And whenever we lobby for finances or even allocate resources, we appropriate resources as per the aspirations of our people. We are not able to attend to all their needs at the same time, but we are able to tell that in this region, this is the issue that was raised by the people, and this is where we need to take our money.
So what would you say, on average, is the single biggest issue in Runyenjes?
Right now, our single biggest issue in Runyenjes, I would say, is roads. There are some critical roads that need to be attended to, followed by water from some sections of my constituency, like 3 wards to be specific.
And I have 6. And by water, we mean piped water to homes?
Domestic and irrigation. My constituency has 6 wards. 3 wards have relatively enough water for domestic. But 3 wards have serious challenges. But my constituency is is 85% agricultural. People do farming, coffee, tea, mangoes, maize, beans, such. So we are in dire need of irrigation water. So that is the second issue. Then the third issue is electricity. About education, we are somewhere. We have been able to move our constituency from the bottom to. We have 5 sub-counties in Embu. We are now position 2. From position 5.
Performance.
Yes. In 5 years, we have been able to engage the education stakeholders, the principals, and the parents, and we have seen progress in the area of education. So I would say we are somewhere. But we have critical roles that we would like the government of Kenya to attend to.
So top 3, roads, water, electricity.
Yes.
Let's take a break on that note. 27 minutes to 9, the Honorable Muchangi Karemba, the MP for Runyenjes constituency, is our guest this hour. He is also the chairman of the Labour Committee of the National Assembly. And in the next half, we'll be asking him about that Labour Committee and how that committee is actually taking care of the plight of workers across the country. You're oversighting the Ministry of Public Service. You're oversighting the State Department for Labour. Yes. And all attendant matters. We want to understand about that.
This is the Situation Room, the only way to start your day.
Conversation continues with the MP for Runyenjes, Muchangi Karemba, who is also the chairman of the Labour Committee. You're saying you oversight the Ministry of Labour of Public Service.
Yes.
Also the Ministry of Labour, the State Department for Labour. So what does that mean?
What that means is that our committee, the Labour Committee, is a committee that is supposed to do budgets for the State Department for Labour and Skills Development and the State Department for Public Service. Those two state departments always come to us for their budget needs. Then again, we have a responsibility as a committee to oversight the operations of those two state departments, including the agencies under them. The agencies under the purview of our committee includes the National Industrial Training Authority, NITA. Then also there is the National Employment Authority. Yeah, those are two agencies that are under the purview of our committee, and we are supposed to oversight them. Then again, also, we are the committee that takes care of the trade unions. So when there are issues that require the attention of the committee, the trade unions will always come to us, and that is it. Then we also do work. We do work visits. Yeah, like recently, I think you heard something like the sexual harassment of female workers in Kericho County after the expose was done by the BBC.
Yep.
So the committee undertook the matter, and we went to Kericho to do an investigation, and we brought together all the stakeholders. We listened to them, including the workers in Ekatera and Finlays, and we were able to do a report which I tabled before Parliament, before we went for recess, and it will be coming up for debate in Parliament. So whenever workers from across the country have issues, and then they need the attention of Parliament, this is the committee.
So even whenever workers are not paid on time, this is the committee that should be bringing this matter to the attention of Parliament.
Oh yes, let them come, let them write to us. We'll always have an opportunity to listen to them.
Do they need to write to you?
Mainly, procedurally, when workers, either from government or even out of government, want to do some official communication, rather to get the attention from the committee, before we react to matters that are not very clear to us, we always like it that they write to us so that we have a beginning point. We don't just react to matters that we do not have facts.
Okay.
Yes. Because for example,
yeah.
Just recently, I heard that the Honorable Wanda is saying that members of Parliament have not been paid. Yeah. But you see, I am a member of Parliament. I received my salary. Several other members of Parliament received their salaries. So if, for example, I went reacting, saying that members of Parliament have not been
Parliamentary
paid.
Service Commission.
You see, it will not be factual because members of Parliament have been paid. Our staff, most of our staff, have been paid, except except a few who might have not accounted for. Once they are paid, they are supposed to account. If they have not accounted for, they are not eligible for payment until they.
Could you explain that, please? When you say if they don't account, just that bit, I'd like to understand what it is that would prevent someone from being paid.
To be precise, it is filing for returns. Our members of staff are paid through the constituency office. There is an account that pays them, that takes care of their salaries.
The members of staff who work for the members of parliament.
Yes, okay. And women reps and senators. So initially they were being paid quarterly, after every 3 months. But we realized that their money is getting delayed and they are getting inconvenienced. So what we did, we advised Parliament and the Parliamentary Service Commission to consider paying them on monthly basis like us. So from I think 3 months ago, they have been receiving their salaries every month.
So they don't have any arrears right now?
No. So what they are supposed to do, once they receive the money, they are supposed to file returns, because they are supposed to pay KRA, they are supposed to pay NSSF, they are supposed to pay NHIF. And it is the constituency office manager who is supposed to file returns on my behalf. That is not the work of the member of parliament, but the constituency office manager. Once they file the returns, and the returns have been received at the liaison office in parliament, they are now eligible for the payment of the next salary.
So
yeah,
you get it.
Yes. So I get it very clearly.
It's now clear.
No, it's very, very clear.
Okay. Mheshimiwa,
yeah,
people who work in counties have been complaining of not receiving their salaries on time for many months. All right? So there are those that are paid, there are those whose salaries are delayed, but many of them will say that they receive their salaries, yes, but delayed, or it comes in bits. Have you ever initiated talks on this particular matter?
Well, the issue of the late payment of salaries in the counties comes from the late disbursement of monies from the exchequer to the counties. So you'll always find that counties have their own mechanisms of dealing with those delays. Yeah, the governors, before issues are escalated to the national government and to parliament and to our committee, most of the governors have been able to explain to the members of the county assembly and even the other members of staff about the delays. And you see, this is common knowledge. It is not something that is happening for one county. It is happening for the entire in the entire country. So many county offices or other county governments have not found a reason to want to come to the committee. They have always wanted to push the national government to release the monies, because once money is released, they consequently pay the staff. So they don't see the committee as a platform to mediate, because there is the council of the governors that takes care of the interest of the counties, and especially on matters release of the funds. So the matters are not brought to us mainly for the reason that the counties are able to manage and to explain to the members of the county assembly about the salary delays and the late release of the finances, including the development expenditure.
So can you take up that matter without it having to come from the Council of Governors or from individual governors?
Well, we can take up the issue.
Unions, for example, the doctors' unions and the clinical workers' union have given a 7-day strike notice. And this is because of delayed salaries. And we've heard this many times before. Clinical workers, nurses, especially those in the healthcare sector. And that doesn't mean that it's only those in the healthcare sector who are not getting paid. It means that all cadres get affected by this. It's a recurrent issue. And because, like you've clearly said, you can clearly see the genesis of this. The genesis of this is not sufficient funds at the county level at the end of the month, and so that goes into delay. The the lateness of disbursement is a matter that goes to the National Treasury. So can your committee work on this, prepare a report that then harmonizes with the other relevant committees that asks the National Treasury, why are you disbursing money late? Because it impacts on workers and workers' morale and workers' welfare.
Actually, my committee has written to the CS for labor and skills development, and also we intend to invite the CS for treasury Professor Ndongo to appear before us and to tell us what the two ministries are doing to ensure that the salaries of the civil servants, the people working in the public service, are not delayed. So it is something we feel that we should approach from that level, because now going to the specific counties, it will take us so long because we have got to go to 47 of them. So in this case, we have decided to target the CS for treasury,
or the unions.
Or some of the unions have reached out to us, and we have written back to them and given them dates when they should appear before us, so that we can harmonize all these issues. Yes, like that union for doctors,
KMPDU.
Yes, KMPDU. They have written to us. They write to the speaker, then the speaker writes to us. Yes.
How about the Union of Civil Servants?
The Union of Civil Servants have not come to us. And I wish to mention that it is the first time in the recent past that salaries for civil servants are being delayed. And this is because the government has refused to borrow money to pay salaries. And it is understandable.
Last month it borrowed.
We are told
in February.
Or are you suggesting that other governments borrowed, and that is why they never had a problem with paying?
A lot of money has been borrowed by the government of Kenya, especially in the last government, to pay salaries. And it is the position of this government that maybe even if that salaries are delayed a little bit and you do not borrow, you gather money from the taxes in a few days and pay salaries, is better than when you go to borrow money and increase the debt.
Where was Parliament when all this was happening?
Parliament has been there, but I will tell you, it is all about leadership. It is about leadership.
Whose leadership?
We always say that the fish.
I thought an MP is a leader.
A member of Parliament is a leader. But we always say, and that is why I started by acknowledging that elected leaders have very serious assignments in terms of leadership. We always say that fish starts rotting from the head. It starts rotting from the hand. So if, for example, a president decides that we are going to borrow to pay salaries, and decides to align the entire government into borrowing money to pay salaries. As members of parliament, remember we rejected a number of us who supported, who are in Jubilee but were being seen as not supporting Jubilee, rejected the raising of the debt ceiling. It is in record that we rejected.
Towards the tail end of the last Parliament.
Yes, that we did. But that did not stop the government then to borrow money to pay salaries. So what I have privy to from this government is that it is giving priority to gathering resources locally than borrowing to pay salaries. Because again, I can tell you one of the biggest problems we have as a country right now is the debt burden. It is so huge, and the solution is not to continue borrowing. We are not solving our problems.
But Mheshimiwa, you are a mathematician, okay?
Yeah.
You chaired the what was it in KU?
The Students' Finance Secretary.
Bas. When Parliament approves a budget of 3.2 trillion shillings with a deficit of over 800 billion shillings, and looking at the debts that Parliament has borrowed, is Parliament basically not sitting back and allowing the government to borrow more?
Oh, well, you see, you are a member of Parliament in a Parliament of 300 and
45.
approximately 45. Yeah. So even when, for example, you have a different opinion, and the motion passes, Yeah. So you cannot say that you are not a member of parliament, yet you had a different opinion. Yeah. So you can only.
Are you telling me that there was a sufficient number or a number of MPs who voted no to the 2022-2023 budget?
Oh yes, and do you realize the supplementary budget, this government, the new government that we have, is in the process of doing its budget. So what we are operating under is the supplementary budget. Yeah, much of it, yeah, is the re-engineering of the budget that was done by the previous.
Yes, but I'm going back into in February, March 2022. Members of Parliament were looking at the budget policy statement from the National Treasury.
And we are saying you were in that Parliament.
Yes, I was.
That Parliament.
Yes.
That Parliament was looking at a government saying, we'd like to spend 3.2 trillion shillings in the next financial year. Okay? And then comes to the budget estimates and looks at how much they're going to actually divvy up that money. But in that budget policy statement, just starting from there, 3.2 trillion shillings, this is how much we were able to collect in the last financial year. You can clearly see that you cannot finance this budget from own resources. You are therefore going to borrow. You approved the budget policy statement. You approved the budget estimates. You approved the budget. You cannot sit back and say fish rots from the head, fish rots from this and the other. If you did not vote no from the very beginning, you're in it.
In Parliament, like I am saying, it is not always when you have a different opinion and the majority are for the opinion that this bill should pass or this motion should pass, you can only have your say, but the majority will have their way. That is what happens in Parliament. But you see, like for example, the challenge that we are in right now, because where we are, every Kenyan knows that we are just from a very serious drought whose effects have not been cured. And there was a lot of anticipation that KRA is going to collect a lot of taxes and meet some of the budget needs. But it is also a fact that we have deficits that need to be covered. Even though we have deficits and loans have matured and they have to be paid, then, like I am saying, if we have to borrow to pay salaries, if we have the option of borrowing to pay salaries and the other option of maybe waiting for a week or so to pay salaries, I am thinking the best option is to
wait for a week.
Wait for a week.
Mheshimiwa,
yes.
We understand this attempt at justifying the delay in paying salaries. We understand it. And we understand the position you are in. We understand the party you belong to.
Yeah.
And we also understand that there must be a party position on these matters,
yes,
which must be articulated at every given opportunity.
Yes.
And we understand.
Yes.
Okay? But we also understand that with every budgeting process, just the term budget, money is set aside for all these expenditures, whether it is repaying a debt, whether it is paying salaries, whatever it is you're talking about. When you have a supplementary budget, once again, these matters are taken into account. They are in the budget. Now, when you take over and you are in government, indeed, you are taking over from a previous government. But it is not true to say, whenever we mention the previous government, that the then deputy president was not in government. He was. Okay? It's not complicated. He was. So long as he was the deputy president, forget the politics around the position. He was ignored. He was. Just like you were a member of parliament. So when we talk of responsibilities, it cannot continuously be shifted to a previous government that was there and not a continuation. Governments, it's a continuum. Whether it is Moi to Kibaki, Kibaki to Uhuru, Uhuru to Ruto, it is a continuum. That's a simple reality. So now, if we do not have enough money to pay, the explanation cannot be that we do not want to borrow, because we've been borrowing. And we never really ask what the money is used for. We are told, but we never really ask. You borrowed. This government has borrowed. Governments borrow. Even the wealthiest governments on this planet borrow. So this narrative has to be aligned to the reality that we have. We have a situation and we don't have another government. It is this one. So we look to this government to solve those problems. Okay? Now, telling us you're collecting money fits in with these proverbs. If it isn't a boy,
It's a girl.
money is collected on a daily basis by KRA.
One thing I would agree with you
Yes.
is that the government must take responsibility.
Yes.
There must be a government that is taking responsibility. On that, I am with you 100%.
Yes.
But also, I need to differ with you on the issue of William Ruto, for example, was the then deputy president. And you want to tell us to forget that we cannot forget that he was the deputy president, because that is factual. But I will also tell you that even though he had the title of the deputy president, it is not the title that mattered. It was the decisions that were being made. You remember, let me remind you.
I know what you're saying.
Let me remind you
And
that
I'm going to agree with you.
let me remind you that many cabinet sittings were done without him. A number of them were done without him. It is at the cabinet where most of those decisions were made. Yeah, and it is not just at the cabinet. Yeah, the country was in charge of somebody. I also don't like referring back to the last government and to the past, because we cannot live in the past. We have got to know that there is a future, we have the present, and there is the future. But also, we are coming from somewhere. Yeah, that is where we are coming from. And we now have a new government which is trying to do everything within its ability to make things stabilize for a country. Yeah, so that is one thing I would like to make clear, because I have seen a lot of effort being put, including efforts to make sure that, like for example, you see in Parliament, there is a time we used to travel quite a lot, yeah, both locally and internationally. As we speak now, that has been downsized
in this country.
Yes. Yes.